Hi there, I'm Richard from Burning Spears. Welcome to my channel. Today I've got a pretty special day, guys. It's really something I've been looking forward to for a long time. So I'm going to be doing like a South African style cuts of lamb ribs. Everything from the lamb rib plate, that general area. And this is how South Africans would generally braai or barbecue these cuts. So it's going to be done on what the popular term is these days, live fire. For most of us it's just cooking, and be showcasing that. But I am honored today to be joined by my very good friend Nick Perfect. Nick Perfect is braai royalty in South Africa. He won a season of Ultimate Braaimaster. I hope he's not blushing, but really talented individual. Very good at what he does in his professional life as well as when he cooks. A lot of experience, and it's great to have him again. We've done a previous video on earlier last year, and I would have thought that I would have done a few more, but busy man, you know. So welcome, Nick. Come stand and say hello to the peeps. Cheers.
Cheers, other Richard. Hello, everybody.
So Nick, thank you for popping in. Really been looking forward to this one with you, and we'll be showcasing all of these cuts and the half drum, the braai stand as we know it, and yeah, looking forward to getting into it. What are you looking forward to today the most?
So, just a little bit of backstory for today. Richard is the most organic human being alive. I hadn't really much of a clue as to what we were going to do today, so this is all a bit of a surprise to me, and I'm looking forward to all of it. Those chops over there and the lamb ribs, incredible selection. So yeah, let's get going.
Perfect, nice one. So we're going to run you through the meat ingredients, and then do the other ingredient prep, get these treated how we want them to be, flavored, marinated, all that sort of thing. We're gonna get that done. Then we'll move on to lighting the fire, and I'll show you a little bit about the braai stand, the half drum, the sort of iconic South African braai piece of equipment, if you like. So before this dries out and gets to fly egg ridden, jokes, there's no flies today, let's get on to that.
Let's go.
Okay guys, so this is from the whole rib section. Let me try and get that without my side profile there. From the rib section, so it's got a bit of belly here, the flank. The English call it the breast of lamb. So basically it's the rib cage and belly, I suppose. So if you have a look here we've got the lamb ribs. In South Africans would call them ribbikies, like little ribs. So these have been cut basically from the rib cage, bits of rib like that. Really nice. There's a lot of fat to render out on these, but these you cook slow for the first part. Render out that fat, and then get some nice color on it. Then of course there's the lamb rib. So this is the rib cage of the lamb without like the chops on there. So normally cheap cut, as are these. Now in the UK these aren't cheap because all of the North African and Middle Eastern restaurants use these cuts primarily for cooking, whereas in South Africa these are cheap. So that's the whole rib. Now this, you've got to take your time. You want to get this crackling, this lamb crackling, which is absolutely awesome. So you want to focus on that. Then of course the cutlets, as they're called in the UK. South Africa, these are rib chops, lamb rib chops. You would be used to having these Frenched with that cut off, leaving the bone there, and the meat having a rack of lamb. If you can imagine the little bone sticking in the air. So that's what this would look like. In order to familiarize yourselves with those, if you don't know what they are. So rib chops, they don't have the fillet portion on like the loin chops. So loin chops are great. If you want that pinkness, that's what I like them for, pink. But these, again, we're going to focus on the fat today, guys. Crisp up the fat. Let that get into the meat, render it out well. That's what we're going to focus on today. Then the last thing. So in my last journey to South Africa, I saw a butcher doing something. I'm well used to the belly of lamb. Here it's called the flank. A lot of you might see roasts a bit fatter than that, tied up and in a roll like that for a lamb roast, a lamb belly roast, or something like that. That's probably what you're used to. This comes off the rib side. It's a flap on there, and it's the actual belly meat. Not as gorgeous as this one, but it's going to be really good nonetheless. So I'm going to make that. I saw on my last visit, I saw a butcher cutting up one of these, and I was interested because I'd never seen it done before. And it's called a lamb octopus. So I'm going to be doing that today. So I'm not going to give away too much. Stick around. Got a lot to get through. Some awesome meats and techniques, and showcasing live fire cooking, guys. It's a winner, especially with lamb. So those are the cuts. We're going to get into the prep next, and yeah, then it's time to light the fire. Okay, then apart from the lamb that you've just seen, I'm going to go through these ingredients really simple. Using herbs as your primary driver of flavor. Herbs, garlic, salt and pepper. And I'm going to do a couple of different marinades for you, and they're really simple and really tasty, and they let that lamb shine. Some of them are punchy with the lemon. Lamb and lemon is a really good thing. A lot of Greek cooking or whatever use lemon for the punch, the acid, and that breaks through the fat, which is really important with lamb being a fatty meat. Then various herbs that you can use. We've got on all over here, we've got some fresh mint. You can use dried mint. Dried mint's got a stronger flavour. I've got some fresh rosemary. You can use dried again. Fresh thyme. You can use dried again. Then I've got fresh garlic. Never use that garlic paste or the diced garlic. Always use fresh. Yes, it's more labor intensive, but its flavor is its actual garlic flavor. It's the stuff that's processed in that doesn't taste all that good like fresh garlic. Kosher salt, freshly ground black pepper. Then I've got some chili flakes. I'm not cooking anything particularly spicy today, but that's just going to add a little bit of attitude. Oreganum, potato, tomato. So I've got dried here. It's hard to get fresh in the UK, and fresh is quite a weak one. It's not like the other herbs that are quite punchy. I've got a extra virgin olive oil, really good quality. I always use good quality olive oil. It costs a lot more, but c'est la vie. That's the price we pay. Then I've got brown sugar. I'm not going to use honey or white sugar. I'm going to use this lovely stuff that's got a nice caramel-like taste and flavor to it. So that'll give this sort of sweet marinade. I know that Nick loves getting minted lamb from his butchers, and they use a commercial. It's very, very tasty, but you can get that nice sweetness in it as well as the mint. So I'm going to replicate that today closely, hopefully, with natural ingredients. So those are the ingredients. You'll see me prep them and then add the different ingredients together for each cut of meat. Right, okay, so first one we're going to eat, first one I want to get marinated is the lamb cutlets or the rib chops. So basically, really simple. I've got a 2-gallon bag here, Ziploc, and I'm going to eyeball these because they are just the marinade, the flavor imparters, can't get it too wrong. It's really, really simple, as you'll see. So these are going to be the mint orientated ones. So I'm going to use the sugar. I chopped up that mint. Take a nice big handful, maybe a little bit more, so that we're quite prevalent, obviously, as you can see, on the mint side. Then this is the only thing that you could get wrong, is that you put too much or too little for it not to have any effect. This sugar is not that sweet compared to a refined sugar, fully refined sugar. But I'm going to go about 3 in there, 3 tablespoons. And just for want of a better figure, 3, these are, I'd like to say medium lemons, but they're really quite small. Probably going to use the juice of 3 of those. Then I feel we should be in a good place with the sugar. Good quality olive oil. I'll put about half a cup in there. Then some salt and pepper. Generous with salt, generous with pepper. It's probably about a tablespoon of each. You could do this in a bowl and toss them in there, like you could have done it in there and just given them a toss, or a bigger bowl, lick it. But these are great because this goes into the fridge afterwards, and then the meat will cool and pull in some flavour. You do want to mix a little bit as you go, because otherwise you could get too stuck together the whole time and you're not getting any marinade on it. You want to keep a little bit of air in the beginning. Get all the air out. Right, that goes into the fridge. Job done. Minimum an hour. Overnight's good. It'll be delicious. Okay, next is the lamb rib. So lamb rib, I'm going to sort of do Greek style. So oregano is going to feature in it, but it's going to be lemony and salty. So those are the prevalent flavors that I'm going to drive here, as you'll see in a minute. Oregano. We got 2 tablespoons of. Lemon zest. Those are 6 small lemons. Probably a tablespoon, leaving a little bit for some of the others. Not a lot of garlic, like a tablespoon. Half a cup of olive oil. Then I want to go 3 lemons here, at least, maybe 4. You'll see I'm putting the lemons in the bag, because if there's any residual flavor that's going to come out of them, like is in the skin or anywhere, I want it out. And with these, I'm not too worried about the pips on this, because it's a whole piece of meat, the pips won't be a problem. Tablespoon of pepper, heaped spoon of salt. Okay, so I've given it a good bit of massage, pat whatever herbs I can onto it. Right, that's ready for the fridge. Okay, so lamb rib time. Now, I'm going to hold back on the olive oil on this one for a reason, and that's because there's a lot of fat to render off on this. So they're going to have a long time low and slow, and then they're going to be finished off hot. So I want them to be drier, and the fat melting will do all the basting. I'm not after too much olive oil at all, as you will see. Slight difference. So these I'm going to drive as rosemary and garlic. Probably 2 tablespoons of rosemary. Tablespoon of mint, just because I've got it. Tiny bit of lemon zest. I'm saving the bulk for the next one. And then 3 tablespoons of garlic. Then, got to do this at some stage, me being me. 1 tablespoon of crushed chilies. It's not going to be spicy or burn, it's going to have a little bit of warmth, a little bit of attitude, and a little bit of color to look cool. Tablespoon of pepper. Heaped tablespoon of salt. A lot of the salt's going to drip off with the fat into the fire, so I might go another half on that one. Now, of course, you see we've got this mix. Now that ain't going to stick to anything. So you've got a choice between a little bit of liquid in there, you've got lemon to add, or a bit of olive oil. So I'm going to use a little bit of both. Probably one lemon and maybe a couple of tablespoons of the olive oil. Okay, so 1 tablespoon, not a lot at all. And I want it to start getting more pasty. You could run this through a pestle and mortar, probably would have been a really good idea, but I'm okay with that. Maybe half a lemon more, just to, so the liquid will of course transport a lot of that flavor around, so too dry is also too bad. The more love you put into them, the better they'll taste. You want to get every surface equally coated as much as possible. Okay, now with the sharp bones here, you want to be careful. And again, that's great so that it's not a wet marinade, but you just want to be a bit more careful when moving everything around, so that it will puncture the bag. But I'm happy with that. Looks just gorgeous. Perfect. All the air out. Right, into the fridge. Because this isn't wet, you don't need to marinate, like massage it like you'll see me do. In between, like every half hour I'll go in and I'll toss them. This is dry, so it's not going to do too much good. Just let that sit in the fridge for at least an hour. Right, so we've got the 2 bits of flank here for the octopus, the lamb octopus. Okay, so I could get cute and round it and make a head with the tentacles to really look like an octopus when it's cooked. But I'm not going to go to too much effort and waste that lamb. I'm just going to take some of the squareness off. I've just sharpened this knife. I don't know why it's performing like that. Right, tentacle time. So that in effect is supposed to be like an octopus. You'll see the legs curl when we cook. Right, there's our little octopus. Jellyfish more like. The lamb jellyfish. The driving flavours on here are a bit of everything. So I've got the leftover mint, leftover rosemary, the thyme, I haven't used that yet, lemon zest, rest of the garlic, half a tablespoon of salt, half black pepper, want a lot of sizzle on this, so going half a cup in here, even for a small amount of meat. So you can see that got oil all over it, seasonings everywhere, just how you want it. Air out. Job done in the fridge. Looking forward to that. So I'm going to cook it on typical half drum braai today. Probably be going into a bit more of the technical side. Yes, there is a technical side on cooking with fire. We'll do that in a bit, probably when we're cooking. I'll have a chat to Nick. So this is a split grill, which we've made, and then just going to light a basic fire on the one side, and I'm going to pile that up with smaller wood, and then use South African thornwood, or no, I think it's actually Namibian sickleboss. And I'm going to combine that with charcoal because that was expensive to get to South Africa, to the UK, a lot of air miles, and the charcoal just stretches it, plus provides that even heat that we're looking for. Okay, so as you can see, the hardwood is cooked down, burnt down a little bit. I've got great embers. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to bulk those embers up with a little bit of charcoal, because in time these will probably disintegrate to the point where I don't have enough heat when I need it. I'm going to arrange this so I have a sloping coal bed with probably a third of this area without any coals on at all. Because by the time I move coals, it's going to be hot there, like it's really nice and warm there now. So I'm going to have different areas of heat, so heat control isn't an issue. It's not like you have a roaring hot fire and you are struggling to not burn things. So that's what we're going to do. You'll see it's quite easy and simple. just going to get the grids nice and clean and sterile. A real basic half drum where there is a whole single piece of expanded mesh on as your grid. But here, fortunate enough to have the split, so I'm always able to move all the meat, take this off, slide it across or whatever, and put some more charcoal on should I need it. So the versatility, instead of having one big grill and having to take off all the meat, all that sort of thing is negated like this. So loving this option. And let's get those grills nice and sterilized. I'll brush them off a little bit, slope the coals, and then it's time to start cooking. Okie dokes, so I've got a really hot zone over there. Less coals there, but it's still very hot because the fire's still fresh. Over here I don't have any coals, so the heat is nice, low and slow. So essentially, just going to line all of these up. Look at that. So that the fat can start rendering. Looking forward to these, Nick.
They're unbelievable, that marinade. So wet, juicy.
The colour from that sugar as well, eh? So as you can see, I'm putting the thickest part to the front. And I just want to get, we'll spin them around like that. I just want to get the fat starting to render before we start cooking them proper.
As far as heat goes, Richard, just good to mention, I think if we put our hands in this sort of vicinity, we could probably hold it there for about 30 seconds, 40 seconds before it starts getting a bit too hot.
Yes, exactly, and that's to give us enough time to render the fat so nicely without burning or charring anything. We'll get that burn and that char on the hot side afterwards, but definitely there's no 4-second count here like people say. Oh, it's 4 seconds, it's perfect for my steak. We're not doing that at all. It's a lovely heat that. I think it's just perfect. What do you think?
Yeah, that's just about right. 30 to 40 seconds with your hand in that area, and that's enough time to render that fat down.
Perfect. So we're gonna let these sit. We might spin them, get that fat rendered down, and then we're gonna tan them nicely. Tanning a chop is always a great pastime. We're going to do it on the hot and fast, pull them over as we need. We've got the different heat zones to play with, so should things get too violent and too dark and crispy, we can just bring them back on here and put them in there for a short time. So easy to control.
Sounds good.
Nice one, thanks. Okay, so these are, you can see that fat is rendered on quite nicely. So Nick's going to move them over onto the action side and get them toasty, and then I'm going to load the small ribs to render down. They're going to take quite a bit of time to have that breakdown of all that fat. Hot in the kitchen there, Nick.
Sure. Anything in there, Richard?
Yep, looking good, looking good. So juicy, man. What we can do just now as well, we can run them up on the bone side this time.
Yep.
When you're happy with them, they're looking good, man. Okay, so these are about done. I'm just going to give them a little tan on the hot section, just to get that last bit of fat out. Some of them are really done. You can feel they're stiff. That's when you know. Generally when things are done, got to watch them like a hawk. with this sugar they will char in an instant. Like that. What do you think, Nick? They're good to go, eh? Perfect. Alright, Nick.
Unbelievable. Look at
Take your pick.
I'm going to go for that one there. Cheers, Richard.
Cheers. Ching ching. It's good, eh? Not as minty as I'd like.
Tender. Surprisingly still pink.
That fat is just gorgeous, isn't it?
That's really good. I don't really have much to say other than that. It's just incredible.
It is good. I'm getting the mint. I think the sugar takes away a lot of the mint. It's a good bite, and to get that juiciness with the pink on there, considering the amount of time it actually spent on the grill, is pretty good, eh?
Yeah. I think it's important though that little bit of membrane between the two layers of fat is completely gone.
Bone side down. Sit there for a long time like that. Okay, so you see I'm keeping it nice, slow and controlled. It's not a low heat over here, it's probably almost up on medium. The lamb rib I'm going to take care of for as long as possible and do a lot of work on the fatty side there. But now it's octopus time. Definitely more jellyfish than octopus. I'm going to do a nice hot direct char on this and then move it to the back. Okay, it's perfectly acceptable to stack your meat, so to speak. If it needs to stay on for a bit longer, keep warm, you can do that. Stopping it from burning, keeping everything nice and warm around it. And then I just want to finish these off. These must be crispy, charred and crispy, just like an octopus, grilled in grease. Go with a bit of salt, black pepper. So another top trick is if your heat's on that side, you've got your fat there, you've got bone there. You can point your bone to that side. Always point your bone to the meat, to the heat, and that way the fat won't char too much. Now octopus time. Oops. Peruvian friend of mine's sauce. Right, lamb octopus, Greek salad, and a Peruvian hot sauce, strangely enough, but there's a lot of octopus in Peru.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's going to be a mess.
Crispy little charred birds of octopus.
Yeah, it's good. Not extremely tender, but tasty.
Yeah, the lamb's still there.
Okay, so as you can see, a lot of the high heat has gone. Things are a lot more relaxed, a lot more manageable, especially with all that lamb fat bit of an inferno at one stage. So now it's just a case of moving things around all the time. Bit of patience, slow and steady wins the race. Okay, so these are real low and slow. We're nearly ready. We had a little taster now. And they're good. They're very, very good. The whole rib's going to take a bit of work still. Worked hard on the fat to get it nice and charred and rendered. Now there's a thick part on there that's worrying us. Typically that should be like a low and slow style cook. So we'll probably cut that off and eat that portion and leave this on the fire for longer. In an hour it'll be absolutely delectable. But I'll exclude that from the video just to leave some secret and wonderment. So you'll see these whole ribs, look at that juice. They're beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And then these ribs look like they're being cooked in hell itself, but two totally different types of cook, which is really good. So we'll see how that translates into the taste. Right, so lamb ribs are ready. The whole rib is ready. Like I said, I'm going to cut it down on the thinner to separate the thinner from the thicker part, and then thicker part will go back on the fire. All night to wait for it to get done. Right, Nick, how did you find that cook? Long?
Not too bad. You've been feeding me along the entire journey, so yeah, thanks very much. But yeah, it's been good.
I'm already very, very stuffed. Cheers. Thanks for coming again. So the two final ones, of course, are the lamb ribs, the whole lamb rib, and then the individually cooked one. Shall we try this one first? I think they're a bit cooler.
Let's give this a go.
So this was garlic and rosemary predominant.
Wow, what a flavour.
That's like lamb squared.
Super lamb.
Super lamb. Bursting with, it's not even fat anymore, it's almost like lamb oil. Bursting with that. Very rich. I don't know how many of these you could eat in a sitting. Probably not many.
I think 2 would be a push.
If you were just eating those. Like this one is going to be a push for me after today. Salty. I think the garlic really gives a lot of umaminess to it, if that's even a word. Okay, that almost pushed me to lamb overdose levels.
That was the lambiest thing I've ever eaten, hands down ever. Lamb butter, definitely.
Definitely lamb butter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the littlest one there.
Thank you.
The littlest lammy bite. Hopefully this is a little bit brighter than the other flavour. Put a sinew under there. Oh yeah, the lemon out. That's gone. Okay, geez, too much lamb, man. The lemon does brighten that up quite a lot.
Oh yeah. Not too much lamb for me, that.
I'm starting to realise why they call this a fleece.
Why is that?
Because a lamb fleece. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I probably don't want to see lamb for at least 1.5 months maybe. This was a lot of lamb, a lot of deep lamb flavours to get through in one day. Anyway, any takeaways from this?
I need to eat more lamb. That's probably about it really. The lamb chops and the lamb ribs, undoubtedly my favourite. I'm looking forward to doing them myself. Yeah.
It's a very underutilised bit of meat on fire. People just see lamb chops, lamb roast, leg of lamb. It's these other things that don't feature that much. But lamb and fire are best friends, absolutely best friends. A couple of things. The belly was, it was nice when it was crunchy, but where it wasn't crunchy, it was kind of tough. And these ribs are good, but that sinew kind of put me off. Ideally, normally I'm used to the lamb rib not having this flap on, and it's similar to a beef short rib. When you get that short rib with that other muscle on top, shouldn't cook it because that's always going to be tough. And this was a case, instead of being trimmed down to there, I think that would have made it a lot better. But this will go back on the fire. I don't know who's going to eat it, but I don't have dogs.
It'll be you.
It will be me. I'll get to it tomorrow. But thank you, Nick. Thanks for joining me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. It's been a treat.
Good. Let's drink some beer.
Agreed.
That's it.